let's talk about your journey with your struggles, because there's obviously medical and stuff like that issues that we pass through your journey. Let's get into that. When did it all come about, and give me a little bit part of that story.
So a big thing to understand is obviously, like I spoke about, I had this drive from a young age and always wanted to be successful. Grew through my 20s, and a lot of what I did was I achieved the success. So all the goals I'd set out to be at 25, I hit. All my goals I set out to be at 30, I'd hit. And in this moment came up, people said, hey, you should do podcasting and listening to Joe Rogan as we spoke. So I started up this Wolf of Queen Street brand, like I said, into 2018, into 2019. And originally I was like, I want to be like Jordan Belfort. I want to be the success and the money and the sex and all of that comes with the glamour. So the original branding of it was me in a white suit standing in Vegas. And I was just like, yes, this is what's going to happen. So I started the brand under that whole, I want to seek Mount Everest of success just for myself and my family. And going through that moment, the brand and getting people on the show and, been a great experience. Life sort of turned a sort of an interesting curveball on me. Going into the beginning part of 2019, I had a very successful 2018. We traveled the world, was really good. And in the beginning part of 2019, I started feeling a bit flat. So I said to my wife, oh, maybe, we did too much in 2018 and, maybe the body's recovering. I'm getting my mid-30s. Most of my joints are, from sport injuries. The age is slowly starting to catch up to me. And after a couple of months, I still felt, I'm not there. Something's wrong. I'm just not all good about it. And as males, we very rarely will put up a hand and acknowledge that there's something wrong. And we very rarely will go to a doctor. So, anyone out there, please take from my experience, go and get a checkup. So I quickly went over to my local GP and I said, can you just check up on me? Things just don't feel correct. And the GP did a test and came back and said, hey, Lawrence, we've found something in your results that, we're not sure about. The first thing is we found hormones in your body that don't exist in males. We also found hormones that only exist in pregnant females, and your level is over 5 times the level of a pregnant female. So we're not exactly sure what is going on here. So obviously I'm like, okay, in one small sense, here's the reason why I'm a little bit off, but in the other sense, I wasn't too sure what's going on. So this was April 2019. We're coming into the moment of finding that something's not right here. I get said to go to a specialist around that does the brain and the brainstem and everything else. And they said, normally what could cause this is a very small growth you get in around your brainstem that could trigger these effects. I first thought it was very weird when someone said to me, hey, there's this normal condition of something growing in your brain. But I was like, okay, I'll just take it as is. So the specialist said to me, Lawrence, go into an MRI scan a couple of days later, and then I'll see you in a week's time, and we'll see what happens from there from that results. So on the Tuesday or Wednesday, when I went, my wife went with, we went and did the MRI scan. And an hour later, after the MRI scan, the doctor calls me and he goes, Lawrence, I don't want to see you in a week's time. I want to see you at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. And it was at that moment, I always say, it gives me goosebumps every single time I say it, because I can remember it vividly. It was at that moment I had a realization and one of the many realizations of the following 12 months, that I know my life's never going to be the same. I know that tomorrow's never going to be the same. Next week's never going to be the same. And the end of the year is never going to be the same. So we went into my specialist the next 8 a.m. the next morning, walked in there, and he said, hey, we did a scan, found your brain. Wife had a bit of a laugh that I have brains. And the specialist turned around and said, hey, we found something. We find a growth, and it's large. It's as large as a golf ball. And it's encased around your pituitary gland, next to your optic nerve, and then right at the back around your carotid artery. It's literally just sitting there pushing on all these items. The they said, look here, we've got to get in, we've got to get this sorted. It's not something you can leave and just keep going where it was at that moment. I had not known, due to it pushing on my optic nerve, I'd lost 30% of my sight. My peripheral vision, to anyone that understands peripheral vision, literally was just enclosing. The darkness was literally enclosing around me without me knowing this. When they tested me, I was within a week from legally not being able to drive because my sight was so bad. And over the next week, going in to see a brain surgeon, talking about it, a handful of weeks later, on the 26th of June 2019, on my actual birthday, I went in and went in for brain surgery to remove this golf ball size brain tumor. Obviously, a success in some form. I'm sitting here right now. But that was just the starting moment of what my life has become today. To where it's just the moment of my rebirth, as I call it, on my birthday. My birthday since then, I don't celebrate the day I was born. I celebrate the day that I was alive.